Welcome back to another devlog. A ton has changed this week, and I mean a ton. I completely redid my onboarding as well as redid the paywall and went to a hard paywall, which I know sounds crazy given that I have basically no users, but we're going to talk through later why I did that and why I think this is the right move. But before all that, I want to jump into the numbers, which were kind of like the weather today, a little bit overcast, not as sunny as they were last week. So first thing, before I even get into the numbers, I'm changing how I track these. We were tracking just impressions, just page views, but now we're going to track it per unique device, which is another option on Apple. I went that way because it turns out there's quite a few multiple page views and multiple impressions that are going on, and I really wanted to just track person by person, especially since that's what I'm tracking for downloads, so that I can kind of more accurately get that conversion rate and understand my funnel. I think this is the better way to go, especially at my size, when just me looking at the page can really boost the numbers. And honestly, I probably should have been doing that the whole time. Okay, so unique impressions. We're up week over week since last week. Last week it was 76 unique impressions, and this week it was 91. That's really good to see. And for product page views, we were up from 21 to 37, which is a huge jump. And another thing I want to emphasize that I'm really happy about here is we still have a really good ratio between impressions and product page views, which means those first 3 screenshots are really doing a lot of work in bringing people to click into the product page view. And that is still a really positive signal. Now, where it gets a little bit worse is our downloads. We only had 1 new unique download this week and 2 re-downloads. And so that led to 3 total downloads. Last week we had 7, so we're down over 50% there. Though again, you know, with something that could be changed by 3 downloads, I'm not going to super index on those numbers. And honestly, I think a lot of these page views are people from LinkedIn, people that I know, people from YouTube, so not necessarily my target customer profile. And so I'm not going to index too hard on them not converting to downloads when most likely they really just wanted to see the app, see what it kind of looked like from the page perspective. So all of this and all of our analytics have been top of funnel. So what I actually care about is what happens when real traffic shows up in the later stages of my funnel, which converts users from free to paid. And that's what I wanted to talk about the rest of this video, the lower half of my funnel. All right, here's the whole funnel. Some users see the app, some of those users tap into the app, some of those download the app, and that so far is everything we focused on. That's ASO, that's UGC, just getting users to see that top of funnel. But past that is once the user actually downloads the app, they log in, they go through the onboarding, they become a user, and hopefully they pay. That's the bottom of the funnel. That's the part we haven't paid any attention to so far. And that's the part we're gonna look at today. Because if your top of funnel is massive, even if it's huge, if your bottom of funnel is super, super leaky, you're gonna have none of those users actually getting to that paid step and becoming real full users. So what exactly are those 2 bottom of funnel components? Well, they're after people download the app. They are our onboarding and our paywall. Okay, so the natural way to think about onboarding is it's just a way to collect a bunch of user data that you're gonna need for your app to function. And in a lot of ways, it is that. It's collecting user data so that your app can actually function as it's intended, because the user's gonna need to fill all that out anyway. However, that is the complete wrong way of thinking about it. The onboarding flow is the only time you have your users' full undivided attention. And you have until you start the onboarding, until you hit the paywall screen and ask them for money, to show them you understand their problem, your app addresses their problem, and to show them that you fix their problem, all in ideally as short of a time as possible, so that when they get to that paywall screen, they say, wow, I think this app is actually going to solve the problem. The whole reason I downloaded it was to solve this exact problem, and look, it's showing me that it can do that. Okay, so every screen in your onboarding is super important and should be doing a job. Some of them lean much more heavily in, I need this data, let's collect this data. But a lot of them should just be focused on, hey, this is a sales motion. We need to show the user and tell the user that we understand their problem. So, fair warning, I'm not a sales guy. If you are a salesperson, feel free to roast me in the comments. I'd love any genuine advice as to how to improve understanding my sales motion. But here's how I understand the sales motion, and we'll walk through how it actually works in my app. Step 1, understand the user's problem and regurgitate it back to them. You want to make sure that the reason the user downloaded the app, you are stating in plain text and you're saying, we understand your problem and this app is built to fix it. Step 2, Position yourself as the fix. Say, hey, our app is going to fix the problem that you identified. That's our goal. And then step 3, you have them put in a little bit of work and you show them that that paid off and there's a wow moment. So I want to walk you through our onboarding. Step 1, screen 1, right here, what's for dinner? Ideally, if our top of funnel matches this, everybody who's downloaded the app is already asking that question. They want to know what's for dinner. And then we have step 2. Step 2 is twofold. It is, we remember what you like. It's trying to position us, 1, as the fix, and 2, is trying to be a differentiator. It's saying, hey, we remember exactly what you like. We're catering dinner specifically to you in an effort to find you a perfect dinner recipe. We also know that that's going to be a differentiator between us and other apps. And so we want to put that front and center so that you can say, okay, I understand how this is different and how its approach to finding me dinner is going to be uniquely more effective than other apps. Then we go to the one screen that really genuinely doesn't do anything for our sales funnel. It's just housekeeping. I really want to know how you saw the app, how you got to it, how did you download it, so that I can better address my efforts to get the top of funnel better. Doesn't help us in pitching you the app, but it helps me in figuring out where I should put my efforts and where I should cut efforts. Next are a handful of screens that are twofold. They're both things we need from you so that we can correctly tailor recipes to what you're looking for, but they're also us showing you that we're listening to your preferences, and so you can assume that we're then taking these into account later on. All right, then comes personally my favorite step of onboarding. It's the Tinder step. Now this step does a ton for us, all at once and all super concisely. First, it gets you to put in a little bit of effort into your app so that we can show you that wow moment, show you that we've been listening and that we're gonna tailor recipes just for you. Second, it's actually already setting up your account so that you can get recipes that are more genuinely tailored to you when you first start using it. It makes it so it is more likely that you get recipes that you really like right when you start off the app, which will hopefully increase our conversion from free trial to paid. Third, it teaches you how to use the app. The app kind of already functions like this. It shows you recipes, you tell us if you like them or don't like them, and we learn from that progressively. It shows you that concept front and center. And that's the core concept of the app and how the app continues to learn from you and deliver better and better recipes. Lastly, it's super demoable. It's super unique. Not a lot of people have seen a recipe app that incorporates themes like Tinder. And it's also really quick and easy to understand what the app is doing just from that demo screen. Now the wow moment. This is where we show you your taste profile. It shows the user that we've actually listened to everything they've told us, we've put in a little bit of work, and we've said, look, we understand the general shape of things you like, and so the recipes that you're gonna get in the future are going to be tailored to you specifically. And this is a very important component to exist right before the paywall, because we want to show the user that we've done some work for them before showing them, hey, now you need to pay so that you can get the full features of this app. Now, as I talked about last video, our paywall changed. We switched from a soft paywall to a hard paywall. And the reason for this is actually kind of counterintuitive. We want more users to genuinely use the app. Our soft paywall was limited as to the number of recipe generations and refinements that you could make per week. And what that does is it disincentivizes users from actually using and refining recipes, which is what we use as the learning component. That's the magic component, the magic sauce of the app. And so by having a free tier, by having a tier where you're limited, we have users come in who are disincentivized from having a magic moment, which means they're more likely to not like the app and not want to pay for it. It's actually counterintuitive to our whole goal. So instead we went with a free week, which is unlimited for a week, and then you can commit. Now, obviously, the big drawdown of a hard paywall is that it can and does scare a ton of people off. So to avoid that, to hopefully improve that, we've added a thing that I've seen a lot of apps do that have a really good rate of people who are converting both to trials and from trials to paid, and that is adding a reminder 2 days before it's due. What we want to tell the user is genuinely, we don't want your money if you're not using the app. We don't want you to just not know you're subscribing to our app and just pay us in the background and forget about it. What we really want is users who know they're paying for the subscription and are using it and are liking it. And that hopefully build some trust with the users, where they know that we're not trying to scam them, we're trying to provide a genuine service that's useful, and we really want to build an app that helps them solve a legitimate problem. All right, so those are the changes to the bottom of our funnel. The onboarding has a much better, more concise pitch now. It tells you much more explicitly what we're trying to do, the problem we're trying to solve, and hopefully shows you that we're putting in effort to try to actually solve that problem. And the goal's the same as it always has been. We want to grow our top of funnel, we want to optimize our mid funnel, and we want to get users subscribing to the app, get that flywheel going. In the next episode, we're going to be checking up on how our UGC experiment has been going. It'll have been running for 2 weeks now. I've tried a ton of stuff, and we'll see how our metrics are looking and if we're driving any installs. See you next week.